صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
Get ready, please. Open your books. The reading text is finished. Now we go to the language. Okay. I'm sorry, the power was off. Just a minute. You can see the screen now. It's opening PowerPoint, yes? Now, if you look at this exercise that we had last time, our last exercise was, what do these words refer to? They, line 4, what does it refer to?
Stories.
Stories, thank you, yes. Now, number 2, Julia, it, line 6, what does it refer to?
The world around them.
The world around them, العالم, the world. Now, let's say Shima, raise the hand, yes?
They, children.
They refers to children. And the last one, Yaqub.
Them line stories.
Stories. Them line 18 stories. Now, the second question here, the activity, discuss the statement below in pairs or small groups. Let's think about that. Folk tales and fairy stories are just for all people and children. Do you agree or disagree? Look at the speech bubble number 1. Read that, please, Amal.
I couldn't agree more. There are much more important things to read.
Okay, the second idea, Lujain.
You can't expect adults to believe in things like talking animals.
Okay, the third one, Tamer. جولين
استاذ اقراها.
يلا اقراها.
I think fairy stories can be enjoyed by people of all ages.
Of all ages. Okay.
Ages.
Okay. Jolene Nizar, the last one.
It's important to have a good imagination and not take things just as they are.
Okay, so what's opinion number 1, George? What does she say?
That she doesn't agree. There are much more important things to read.
So she says, I don't agree. I couldn't agree. Okay, I couldn't agree more. Does she agree or disagree?
Disagree.
She agrees. There are much more important things to read. Okay, I couldn't agree more. So she agrees. They are not just for children. She agrees. They are for all people, she says. I couldn't agree more, man. I agree. I agree. So they are important for all people and other people. The other person on the right says you can't expect adults to believe in things like talking animals. So he thinks that these are not good for old people simply because they know life, they understand life. They won't believe imaginary things. He disagrees, the one on the right. The girl on the at the bottom, I think fairy stories can be enjoyed by people of all ages. So she thinks that they are good for all people. So the girls agree with the idea, and the boy on the right and the top one disagrees. And the last one, it's important to have a good imagination and not take things just as they are. So he thinks that they are important for people's imagination, all ages. Who disagrees or all the people in the with the bubbles here? Who disagrees? Just this one. You can't expect adults to believe things. So the one who disagrees is this here with this idea. You can't expect adults to believe in things like talking animals. Adults won't believe that, so they are good for children, he says. Is that okay?
Okay.
What's your
Yes,
opinion
sir.
now? What do you think yourself?
I think fairy stories can be enjoyed by for all ages because it's beautiful and funny and they can interest them.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a good idea. Other people, come on. What do you agree with or disagree with? What do you think? Lujain, what's your opinion?
I agree because fairy tales and folk tales uh, maybe maybe develop our imagination and minds.
Okay, that's nice. So if we want to say that I agree or I disagree, we can say I totally agree. Write them. اكتبوا اللي بحكي لكم اياه على الصورة عند الكتاب هناك بعد 90. I totally agree. I totally disagree. I don't
أستاذ يعني
agree.
بالإملاء يعني كيف إحنا
نعم.
بقول أنت قاعد تذكرنا طب بالإملاء يعني بلكي يعني في أحرف مش عارفين نكتبها
بدك اكتب لك انا؟
يعني لو سمحت اكتب.
اوكي، بعد شوي على السلايد الثاني ممكن نعمل اشي هيك. اوكي. I totally agree. اكتبي، حاولي تكتبيها بس بتصححيها بعد شوي. I don't agree. هيها شايفتيها I couldn't agree more. هاي معناها I agree. ابسط وحده I agree I disagree. اكتبوا تنتين. I agree I disagree. Okay. Is that clear؟ بدناش نطول عليه كثير هذا لأنه لازم ندخل على القواعد شوي. I agree or I disagree or I totally disagree. I totally agree. So there are 4 different ways. In addition to this one, I couldn't agree more. اللي معناها أنا موافق. وأخذنا واحد عن جيليان بولسون. What does she say? I couldn't disagree more. قالت I couldn't disagree. هذيك معارضة. إذا بقول I couldn't agree يعني I agree. أنا موافق. I couldn't disagree يعني I don't agree. بكفيني أعرف I agree I don't agree. Is it okay؟ بدي أسمع منكم.
Yes.
Yes. Now on the next slide we have the language. Period 3 language. Now move to the next page in your books, please. If you look at the examples in a moment, now it says here, defining relative clauses. جملة صلة الموصول. Now, fairy stories often feature animals. This is sentence number 1. They can talk. If we want to join these 2 sentences together, we can use a pronoun, which or that. It's here. And we cross out the pronoun they. إذا بنحذف they اللي بتعود على animals وبنستخدم بدالها which or that. The sentence becomes fairy stories feature animals which or that can talk. Read that please, Yaqub.
Such fairy stories. Fairy stories often feature animals that.
Yes.
Jack has a plant with a grow very vast and
Okay, Amal, can you repeat reading that from the screen, please?
Fairy stories often feature animals which talk, which that talk.
Okay.
Fairy
Now,
stories feature animals which
now look at the word here. Animals which. Animal, they refer to animals. Now, instead of they, we used which. والجملتين صاروا جملة واحدة بدون النقطة. Now, what's this? Relative clauses, joining two sentences together. Now, because the first sentence, fairy stories often feature animals, this is not a complete meaning. We used which or that can talk. Now, in sentence number 2, look at the example. Jack is a young boy. He lives with his mother. Now, if you look at it, now, Jack is a human being, and the pronoun is he. ما بنستخدم which or that. We use who that. بدل he. So it becomes Jack is a young boy who that lives with his mother. How many different ways did we join the sentences together here? Lujain.
2 different ways.
2 different ways. What's the first one?
Jack is a young boy who lives with his mother. Jack is a young boy that lives with his mother.
Okay, that lives with his mother, or who lives with his mother, yes? Because we are talking about
Yes.
Jack, about the boy. Now, in sentence number 1, how many different ways, George?
2 different ways.
Okay, one with
which and one with that.
this is called defining relative clauses. لأنه الجملة الثانية بتوضح الجملة الأولى. It defines it. Now, in the second example, Rowan, read the example, please, here, the woman. Yes? Shema.
The woman was very polite. She phoned me. The woman who or that phoned me was very nice.
Okay, is this sentence similar to number 1, 2, or different?
Similar to 2.
Similar to number 2. How is it different?
Different
Yes.
to number 1.
She is similar to number 2, but it's different in one thing. If you look at it, هنا a young boy مع هي بجنب بعض. هون the woman مع شي بعاد عن بعض في بينهم كلام. Yes. Now, when we want to join the sentences together, we need to use this part here. She phoned me. مع هو ذات ندخلها بالجملة هون. بعد woman. إذا لما بنربط الجملتين مع بعض بنقيم الجملة الثانية بنحطها جنب الاسم اللي بالجملة الأولى. George, what did we say?
says انهم similar لبعض بس ما فهمتش انه كيف مختلفات.
مختلفات انه كلمة woman بعيدة عن شيء. شفتها؟ إذا لازم تيجي الجملة الثانية بجنب الاسم اللي بيعود عليه الضمير شيء اللي هو the woman. Got it, George?
اوكي.
إذا الحل تبعها جورج, read that please.
The woman was very polite. She phoned me. The woman who or that phoned me was very nice.
Okay, now is this the order? Look at the sentence order, everybody here. هل ترتيب الجملة هون نفس ترتيب الجملة الأولى؟
No.
No, why not? Why not? ليش ترتيبهم مش زي بعض؟
استاذني اخر جمله معكوسه.
معكوسة لأنه الاسم جاي بأول الجملة. لأنه الاسم بأول الجملة. Look at the noun here. The woman ترتبط بشيء. They are far away from each other, so it's called embedded. Embedded relative clause. هذا النوع. لما بيكون الاسم بأول الجملة الجملة بتتخربط. Is that okay? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, another point. If you look at the examples 1, 2, and 3, now they, he, and she are the subject. هي الفاعل. إذا هذا الربط لما يكون الضمير فاعل. They refers to animals، كل شيء بضل مكانه. He to a young boy, everything remains in the same place، بضل مكانه. Now she refers to the woman لأنه في بينهم كلام جاي بأول الجملة، تتخربط الجملة، بصير embedded، جملة الحشو بنسميها بالعربي مشان نضل فطنانينها لما يكون الاسم بعيد. Now the second part, look at the examples here. Non-defining relative clauses. So what's this? Non-defining relative clauses. جملة صلة الموصول بيكون هون الجملة زيادة ما بتعرف. Look at example number 1. Jack has a bean plant. It grows very fast and very high. Jack has a bean plant which grows very fast and very high. Now here it فاعل برضو and it refers to bean plant بجنبها. إذا نفس الجملة الأولى فوق isn't it؟ نفس المثال الأول. Now if you look at it we used that which واستخدمنا which هون مع الفاصلة اطلع عليها هون which مع الكوما. Now why did we use a comma? It's called non-defining. بصير غير محددة غير معرفة. السبب إنه if you look at the first sentence, Jack has a bean plant here. This sentence here هي كاملة المعنى فيها فعل وفاعل. جاك يملك حبة فاصوليا. إذا جملة مفيدة. لما تكون الجملة الأولى مفيدة بنستخدم فاصلة وبنربط باستخدام which لغير العاقل. Now look at sentence number 1 again at the top. Fairy stories often feature animals. القصص الخيالية فيها حيوانات. الجملة مش كامل معناها بتكون مالهم الحيوانات بدك تكمل الخبر. فالجزء الثاني مهم إنه بيحكوا they can talk. So if the first sentence is incomplete we don't use a comma. If the first sentence has a complete meaning we use a comma. Okay. Another example and we'll repeat that again. Be more careful. Now he has 2 young sons. عنده ولدين. إذا جملة مفيدة ولا لا؟ لا. مش جملة فيها خبر إنه له ولدين، جملة خبرية. الآن they here refers to sons. والجملة كاملة إذا بنربطهم نستخدم الكوما مع هو فاصلة هو. Now another example. Anansi is the hero of the tale. He is a clever spider. Now, if you look at this example, is it the same as number 1, 2, or 3 above? هل الجملة بتشبه 1 2 ولا 3 فوق؟
Number 3.
Number 3. How is it similar? Look at it here.
لأنه الفاعل أو الاسم أول شيء.
Yes, لأنه الاسم بأول الجملة. So if we join them together, how would they become? Look at it. Anansi بنجيب الجملة الخضراء who is a clever spider بتيجي معها فاصلتين لما تبقى الجملة حشوة. Anansi who is a clever spider is the hero of the tale. Now, how many different types do we have now regarding relative clauses? How many different types? Yes. كم نوع صار عندنا؟
2.
2. The first one defining, the second one non-defining. إذا عندنا نوعين من الربط. الربط الأول فيه 3 أمثلة، العاقل وغير العاقل ولما تكون الجملة حشوة، والربط الثاني برضه 3 أمثلة، كل واحد نفس الثاني. الفرق بينهم, what's the difference between the first and the second part? Yes. Hello. Lujain, what's the difference between the first and second part?
للdefining relative clauses
what's the
ولا
difference?
non-defining.
This is
The first
yes complete sentence الأولى بتكون والثاني الأول بتكون incomplete sentence والثاني complete sentence. يعني بالنوع الثاني تبقى الجملة كاملة الخبر فيها فعل وفاعل تكملة الجملة كاملة المعنى. So when the sentence like this is complete, we use a comma. In the first part, we don't use a comma. الفرق الثاني, in the first part, we can use that or which or who or that. In the second part, we don't use that. ممنوع نستخدم that لما بنستعمل الفاصلة. واضح؟ Yes. إذا واضح نعم. إذا مش واضح احكوا اللي عنده أي سؤال. Clear. Is it clear?
أستاذ منير.
Okay. Now, if you look at them again, George, read the 3 examples at the top, please.
Fairy stories often feature animals. They can talk. Fairy stories feature animals which or that can talk. Jack is a young boy. He lives with his mother. Jack is a young boy who or that lives with his mother. The woman was very polite. She phoned me. The woman who or that phoned me was very nice. Okay.
The 3 examples here, because the first sentence is not complete meaning, a complete meaning, we use which, that, or who, that. Now, in sentence number 3, because the subject is at the beginning of the sentence, لأنه الفاعل بأول الجملة بنخربط ترتيب الجملة بصير she phoned me بأول الجملة بالنص was very polite طلع عليها بترجع ورا. Now, the second part here. Loreen, can you read them? 1, 2, 3 below. Lujain?
Jack has a bean plant. It grows very fast and very high. Jack has a bean plant which grows very fast. He has two strong sons. They live with him. He has 2 strong sons who live with him. Anansi is the hero of the tale. He is a clever spider. Anansi, who is a very clever, is the hero of the tale.
Okay, now, Amal, what's the difference between the second part and the first part of the exercise here? Yes? What is the difference between the first and the second part? Yes? شو الفرق بين المجموعة الأولى والثانية؟ Jude, what's the difference?
أستاذ كوما.
The comma, thank you very much. That's it. Now, when do we use the comma? وين بنستخدم الفاصلة؟ بس لما تكون طلعوا لما تكون الجملة الأولى معناها كامل. Jack has a bean plant. فيها subject verb complete. Now بالجزء الأول اقرأوا Jack is a young boy. Jack ولد صغير. ما فيها تكملة خبر. ما له هذا الولد؟ بنسأل سؤال. What's wrong with him? What's the problem? What did he do? إذا كانت الجملة مش كاملة بنستخدمش فواصل. إذا كانت الجملة الأولى كاملة المعنى subject verb نستخدم الكوما. لما نستخدم كوما الفرق الثاني ممنوع نستخدم ذات. Now, this is your exercise in your book. It's the same as the examples. Next time we will go through them. So study the examples in your book and start somehow doing this. If you have anything, I'll send you the video for the class and we can just explain it again. Next time, start again very quickly and move to the activities. Thank you very much for today.
يعطيك العافية أستاذ.
Instead.